Hey guys, last week, yes, I'm by myself again, 19.5, and what a doozy it is. So first let's go through the workout. So 19.5 for time, 33 thrusters at 95 and 65 pounds, 33 chest to bar pull-ups, 27 thrusters, 27 chest to bar, 21 thrusters, 21 chest to bar, 15 thrusters, 15 chest to bar, 9 and 9. So if you do the math, that's 105 reps of both. And that should be a deer in the headlights moment for almost a lot of you, because if we look at how much volume of reps that is, that's probably a significant amount more than what you might be accumulating in a week. And so that's one of the first things I kind of want to talk about is this is very highlighting on what the demands of the sport are becoming, and if you want to compete in it, where you have to be able to do 105 chest to bar and thrusters in a workout, and then potentially within 2 to 3 days do it again and be recovered and have your hands heal. So I hope that just gives people some perspective on what the sport is going to be demanding in the next few years with requirements around repetitions for various movements. So that's worth noting up front. Obviously, please visit the website to see all the standards and information that you might need to ensure that you're following everything that needs to be followed. Kind of the first things I thought about for a lot of people was hand protection, being cognizant of trying not to rip, because I have a feeling a lot of people are probably going to rip just based on the volume of reps. And if you haven't, again, which I'll probably say a few times, if you haven't been building over 100 reps per week of toes to bar, bar muscle ups, chest to bar, then this could cause some issues for you, and that's okay. So definitely play with wrist wraps for maybe majority of the workout, and then pull them off, because sometimes they're a little bit annoying to be having on for the workout. So that's something you can think about. Even thinking about taping the bar, which would actually probably be a little bit more raw and challenge your hands, so I probably wouldn't use tape. Or you might have 2 bar setups. You might have one bar or one section of the bar that doesn't have tape, and you're using your grips, and then once you get to about the 21 mark, so you're more than halfway, you might take your grips off, and then you might jump onto the tape section, because now you'll have a little extra grip as your grip is fatiguing due to the tape. So that's more of a strategy piece around your setup with the bar and utilizing that to its best. The next couple points are just knowing yourself, and what I mean by that is where you sit with your capacity with pull-ups and even thrusters too, because that's going to have a huge determinant on how you're going to break up this workout. And I'm going to get into my my groups and where you might fall in based upon your abilities. So just take a moment to kind of reflect on where you sit when I talk about the groups, and then be honest with that, so then going in you'll have a great plan and strategy for how to manage the reps and move through it as fast as possible for yourself. Before we get to that, let's kind of talk about the warm-up and just give you a quick overview of kind of what that looks like and how to best set yourself up for that. So we first have to think about how long the workout's going to be. So there is a 20-minute time cap, and if you watched tonight on the show, Matt Frazier did under 7 minutes, which is insane, because that's essentially doing 2 chest to bar Frans and 15 more reps in under 7 minutes, which is a lot of work. So it's very, very impressive. And then you're going to have people who are up in the 20-minute range. So if we look at maybe the middle contingency, you're going to be in the 10 to 13-minute range. So you're going to be working for that long. It's not Fran. It's not like last week. It's not like the first week. It's a different area based on the contraction. So we're going to need to get sweaty. We're going to need to get some lactate in the system a little bit to help us push on the back end. So there is going to be more of an extensive warm-up. So of course up front, general blood flow to the periphery. So some air squats, single leg patterning, some core work, maybe some farmer carries, maybe some double kettlebell front rack work. And in the guide I'll have some specifics around the warm-up, but just throwing out some ideas on what you would want to be prioritizing to kind of open up your system. And then for those who are more tight or have a more challenged front rack position, this is where you want to take as much time as needed to ensure that you feel as comfortable as possible in your front rack, because every extra degree of front rack ability you have, if that's even a term, that's going to add up significantly for all 105 reps. So if you feel as comfortable as possible, that's going to maximize your ability to do all those reps, because if you have a little too much tension in your front rack position, every rep that's going to compound, and by the 50th rep you're going to be a lot more fatigued than you should be. So be patient, take some time in your specific prep, which I'll have some stuff in there for your wrists, open up the lats, the long head of the tricep, even some bicep or forearm stuff, just getting great, your scap, just getting great motion. So this is not very restricted. So it's not down here, but it's up a little bit. You're able to breathe. It's going to be really important. So spend time there. Once we have that, oh, also the squat. So yeah, the front rack's important, but you also want to feel really good in your squat. So if you are somebody, again, who's a little bit tight in the bottom of your squat, spend some time opening up your hips, getting your butt turned on a little bit. That'll improve, some dorsiflexion in your ankle, roll out some tissue that, you think helps you feel better in your squat. Just take some time, because we want to feel as best as possible for those thrusters. Once you've done that, we're going to move into a CP hit, or something that's just going to get your nervous system fired up a little bit. So, within 10 minutes, building to a tough thruster from the floor. So you're going to squat clean it into 2 thrusters, which will be, obviously a moderately challenging load, which is just going to, one, get your CNS going. It's going to make you feel that the pattern is strong, so that when you go back to the lighter barbell, it's going to feel really easy. So it's just more of like a neural trick, if anything. But don't spend too much time there. You just need a quick hit to get things going. You don't need to spend, you don't need to do 50 reps of accumulating work to build into this tough double. Just a couple quick hits, feel good, get out of there. Then you're going to go into a tough weighted chest to bar double, so in like 8 to 10 minutes. So again, it's kind of the same premise, where we're kind of overloading the pattern. We're getting the nervous system ready for this movement of this full scap retraction, and getting the body ready for that, so that when you get into the chest to bar, you're going to feel a little bit more fluid, you're going to feel a little bit more floaty, which is what we're going to want the whole time. So you do that, then we'll move into some specific prep. So this is kind of reminiscent of last week and previous weeks, where we're trying to get some lactate into the system and get you feeling a little bit crappy beforehand, so that you have substrates available that you need for when you start to reach more of your threshold in the work. So 3 to 5 sets. And before I go into this, it's worth noting, when I talk about the groups, which will come next, based upon where you sit with that, the amount of reps is in this specific prep is going to be relevant to that. Because if you're somebody who doesn't have as much capacity in chest to bar and thrusters, then you're not going to be doing as many reps in your warm up. If anything, you might be doing like 1 to 2 chest to bar and thrusters to feel it, and then you're going to get into it, because you only have so much you can do before you're gonna, shit's gonna hit the fan, for lack of a better term. So 3 to 5 sets, increasing effort per set, 15 cals on the assault bike, into 3 to 5 thrusters, 3 to 5 chest to bar, 3 to 5 thrusters, 3 to 5 chest to bar, rest 3 to 4 minutes, and getting faster per set. And again, that can add up to a lot of reps. That could be upwards of 30 of each on top of the 105 you're going to do. So again, you need to know where you're going to sit, because if you're in group 1, you're going to do maybe 1 to 2 reps, and then that's it. And then you're just going to move on. So for you, it would be 15 cal bike, 1 to 2 thrusters, 1 to 2 chest to bar, 1 to 2 thrusters, 1 to 2 chest to bar, rest 2 minutes, 2 to 3 sets. And then you rest 5 minutes, and then you hit it. Like, that's it. That's all you need. You just need to get your brain down with the pattern of the movement and kind of the sequence going back and forth, and you're ready. You don't need a ton of volume. You don't need to prep the cycle time or kind of what it feels like. You're going to be able to get into it and get going, because the volume is just going to be so much that you only have so much to work with. For group 2 and 3, which again I'm going to get into in a second, you guys can do a few more reps in this prep. That's why I put a little rep range of 3 to 5, so you can do a few extra to kind of feel it, get your rhythm down, feel comfortable and confident with your setup and everything, to again kind of get that lactate in the system. And if you are someone who is not going to do as many reps, what you could do to help potentiate that a little bit more is, before you start, you could do 2 to 3 sets of 20 to 30 seconds really hard on the bike. Not all out, but we'll say 95% effort where you feel pretty bad the last 10 to 15 seconds. And that's again going to help get some lactate into the system with 4, 5, 6 minute rest without the contraction volume from doing thrusters and chest to bar. So that's a great alternative to accumulating a ton of reps, is you just do some sprints on the bike to get the metabolic effect, which is all that you want. You're not trying to get anything else out of it. You're just trying to take advantage of that. So that would be the pieces within the specific prep, and again within the guide there'll be more detail on that, so you're not lost or don't understand what to do. Then you'll rest 4 to 5 minutes, then you hit the workout, and then you're going to cool down 15-20 minutes, easy spin on the bike or go walk, just move some blood, because you're going to be in a different world with all those reps, and you just kind of need to get your system cleared out so you feel good the next day and the following day. So let's get into the groups. The way I kind of broke this up was mainly by your max unbroken chest to bar, which we could also correlate with like your Fran time if you've done it recently or know your Fran time, which most people do who do CrossFit. So the first group would be somebody who has max unbroken chest to bar 30 or less. So your Fran time might be anywhere from 4 to 6 minutes. You might be in that kind of range of for time. So for you, this workout is all about partitioning and allowing you to extend out your work as long as possible. You want to just kind of think about chipping away. That's kind of your mantra for the workout, is you're just trying to do a little work, rest, do a little work, rest, do a little work, rest. Just nonstop for 12 to 17 minutes. That's your goal, okay? So I kind of put, which this will be in the guide, I don't want to go through all of it, but 4 to 5 sets for the 33s with your thrusters, 5 to 7 sets on the pull-ups. You might be looking at 5s or less for all your chest to bar, which is totally fine. You might even just be doing 3s, but this is where having a lower bar might help, because if you end up having to do singles, which it could be a possibility, you kind of want to have a bar close by where you don't have to jump really high. So you could do like you put your hands on the bar, you quickly kip, do a rep, drop, which if any of you did 2015, 2016, the overhead squat. No, what was that? Yeah, 2015, chest to bar, overhead squat. That's what it was. And when there was that accumulation of chest to bar, you probably had, for those who were more challenged in it, you probably had a close bar nearby where you could jump and do singles. At least I know I did, because that allowed me to get to the next round or the next segment. So thinking about that for you on the back end here, and having potentially 2 bars set up. So if you're not able to keep stringing them together and you got to do singles, have that short bar so you don't have to jump as much. I hope that makes sense. For the second group, before I go into that, one thing I do want to say is descending sets are really great for the mind. And what I mean by that is, like for the 33s, doing, or not 33s, that'll be a bad example because you'd probably be wanting to do in 5s, but for, let's say, the 15s, you do 6-5-4 for your thrusters. Or for the 21s, you do 6-5-4-3-3. So whenever you're doing a little bit less each time, it's easier for your brain to kind of wrap around that idea, instead of doing 5 and 5 and then maybe try to do 7 or something like that. So just think kind of chipping away for your partitioning. And again, I have a couple strategies broken down for rep schemes for people in here, so that'll be pretty clear for you, because it probably sounds like mumbo jumbo right now. But anyways, so group 2, you have max unbroken chest to bar 30 to 40 range, and then your Fran time is probably around 250 to 345. So you're probably in that area. And so for you guys could still do 5s all the way with your chest to bar. Your thrusters, you could be doing in 3 to 4 sets for your 33s. For your 27s, 3 to 4 sets. So you still need to be partitioning your chest to bar significantly to extend out that work. You don't want to be getting into big sets. So for you're probably not looking at more than 7 or 6 max. Maybe 7, 7, 7, which would be 21, and then you move into 5s. So you do 5, 5, and then 2 for your 33s. So you're going to feel good up front. Everybody feels good up front, but you have to be patient and have to see kind of the big picture of how much you have to do. So you got to be aware of that with your partitioning, and start small and just keep chipping, so that when you get to that back 45 reps, 21 down to 9, you can keep that tempo up, because what might happen is you might get a little aggressive up front, and then when you get to the 21s, you're going to lose all your kip, you're going to be doing doubles and triples, and now you're going to slow down significantly, and then you're going to not do as well as you want to. So have to be patient up front with your partitioning, even though you're going to feel pretty good. The thrusters, partitioning wise, you can do 1 to 2 sets, probably less than the first group. You could probably do 3 to 4 sets. If you feel like you're stronger in the thrusters, you could push that a little bit more, where you're doing like 3 sets or 2 sets. Just maybe you have a great position and you're set up well to do a thruster, because you know you're going to have to chip on the pull-ups. So that's something you can think about for that as a strategy. And again, descending sets can be helpful. Group 3, so now this would be kind of the upper echelon. You're looking at, 40 to 60 plus unbroken chest to bar. Your Fran's probably, sub 230. Like you have a more elite level capacity and capabilities, and you're probably also having upwards of over 100 chest to bar in your training weekly all year long, along with toes to bar and bar muscle up and ring muscle up volume. So even though it's 105 reps, you're not that concerned, and you probably won't rip, and you could do it on Monday again and beat your score, which for a lot of you, it's going to be extremely hard for you to beat your score if you're finishing it on Monday, if you do it on Friday, just based upon volume and not having built enough. So for this group, these are the people who could redo it and do better, which I would put my money on them doing better. For you, if we look at Tia Claire, obviously, world champion, so take it with a grain of salt, but she did break up the thrusters in 2 sets. She did her pull-ups in 3 sets for the 33s, and then she did 2 sets for everything until the 21 chest to bar, and then she did 3 sets. So keep that in mind, that she was around 2 to 3 sets with her partitioning. So for you guys, based upon which of the 2 you feel more confident in, you could push that one a little bit more. So her pull-ups, she looked a lot more smooth and aggressive on those than her thrusters. And if you look at her positioning, her thruster position is not as optimal as Matt's was. So she partitioned that a little bit more, and then she kind of pushed it a little bit more on the chest to bar. So that's a thing you could think about strategy-wise in maximizing one or the other. So it's one piece you're doing your best to chip and keep pushing, and the other one you're trying to really push the throttle a little bit, but not up front. Because if we watch Brenda Castro, she went a little bit hot up front, and obviously her capacity is not on par with Tia Claire Toomey, but it kind of showed in the back half she fell apart, whereas Tia Claire was able to kind of extend and hold her pace towards the end. So you still have to be patient up front for the third group, even though you're trying to attack this workout and put up a really good time. You've got to be patient through the 27s, and then when you get into the 21s and you only have 45 reps each of them left, that's where you start to kind of dig. And then once you get to the 15s, then you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and then it's time to put the head down and finish it. So so I have all the breaks down for each group in there, and that'll be on the guide. Again, redos, 1 max. Like, you're going to do it Friday or Saturday, and you can try again on Monday. And if you haven't built up this volume, you're going to do it on Friday, and your hands are probably going to rip, and they're not going to heal by Monday. And then you're going to start on Monday, and you're going to get maybe a third of the way in, and your hands are going to be raw, and they might be bleeding again. So I would suggest you do it once, and you end on a good note. So you put your head down, you go with your game plan, you stick to it, and then you give yourself a little bit of room for magic with the last 20 reps, and then you see what you got. But yeah, that's kind of it. And this is an interesting way to finish this Open, because obviously there's going to be one in October. But it should just give people insight that there are going to be additions in your training that you're going to need to make with functional volume to ensure that you can compete at this level and recover and adapt to it. So take that as a parting piece of wisdom for you with all your training. And best of luck, protect your hands, and have fun. We are done. Ladies first, how did it go?
I think it went really well, according to the rep scheme that I stuck to. Don't give away my secrets, bro. I knew the thrusters would blow me up, so I went by feel on the pull-ups. It definitely didn't feel like I was going downhill on 15. It really, like, 15's like trying to just chip away at it. But I mean, my grip didn't go until like literally as soon as I got done with that last pull-up was when I started to feel my grip get gone. But I mean,
built a lot of volume.
Yeah, as scared as I was to actually do the workout, I was building that up a little bit too much.
Yeah, it's okay. You did good. I think you executed it well to your plan. Obviously, you could push a little more, but hey, you did your best, which is great. And you finished strong. Trevor, with the W.
Yeah, so
how'd it go, man?
In the past, I had done 33, 27, 21 thrusters and chin over bar pull-ups, which is still a little different, but totally different game plan. Like a lot of Fran workouts, you think are in that sub 5 minute range. No one is going sub 5 in this workout, so you have to really push to have that idea. I'm a little better at thrusters, so I went 15, 10, 8 the first set, 10, 9, 8 the second set, and then did I go the 21s? I broke 9, 7, 5, which I wasn't wanting to, but by the time you do that 27, 33, you're already over halfway done the workout. So you have to understand where you fatigue on those. I found that breaking up the pull-ups, if you can be conscious of your rest times, breaking the pull-ups into smaller sets, because it's much easier to drop down and jump back up sooner than you think, rather than it is to drop the barbell and pick it up sooner than you think. As far as my go, taller athlete, longer cycle time, that's something I take into account. And then you really don't, you have to pace the 21 a little bit, unless you're a thruster pull-up monster. By the time you get to 15 and 9, I mean, I haven't been training very hard for a while, so I would say the 15 is you make that decision to either step in and step out. And if you can get through the 15 thrusters in one set, that'd be a dream, but it would also make this huge piece get out of the way, where the pull-ups can be chopped up, the 9 can be broken, and then she paced it well to do the 9 in the end, but I tore up a little bit, and I just didn't have the killer instinct for the 9, but I was happy with my performance today. That's all I got to win. I did that in one breath.
Yeah. Talk about capacity. That was impressive. But yeah. Anything else?
I mean, definitely got I got a little tear, not too big, but it definitely felt worse than it was when I got a look at it, like right before I was going up for pull-ups. I was like, oh, there's not blood, I'm good.
Grips is definitely necessary for this workout.
Yep.
Understand where the chalk is. Get the best pull bar with the most grip. I would say if you can do this twice, try bigger sets the first time you go through it, because it'll definitely hurt more with bigger sets. And then the second time you come at it more with a pace strategy and know your times that you want to get through certain things, because the ability to pick it off in the back half and do a full set of 15 on the thrusters, break it once, and then full set of 9 would be your best way to get paced effort. My best guess.
Sam, you mentioned like how some of them had been building volume.
Yes.
How have you guys been working towards that so that this wasn't so scary?
Yeah, well, so you always have to think about the functional volume of the sport. So when you have to look at what the competition is, so if you look at the Open, you look at trends on total amount of reps you're going to accumulate each week in certain movements, and on average you're around 100 reps in chest to bar for higher end athletes. And so this week, obviously everybody has to do 100, 105. So you have to have built at least that per week, roughly over the course of a year, upwards of maybe of even 200 reps, to be able to, one, handle the mechanical damage and then be able to recover quick enough so you could do it on Monday and accumulate over 200 reps in 3-4 days. So, and with anything about building volume, you're just looking at progression over time that you're positively adapting to. So you're starting small and you're just building and building and building and building until you essentially have accumulated all this work. So nothing fancy, it's keeping in mind what you're going to have to be able to do come time to compete, which is right now you're going to have to be able to do 100 plus reps. So it's just a good eye-opener for a lot of people.
Yeah. We're done.
Yeah, good job, guys.
Thanks, Sam.
Of course, man.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yes.